What's up everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Fzone Pro Series dual stage CO2 regulator. Right now I'm running the Fzone Mini on this tank. I really like that regulator, but in the future I'm going to be running multiple tanks and I want one regulator to run those multiple tanks. And this regulator has dual bubble counters and the option to add more manifolds for more bubble counters. In the box you have instructions, an Allen key, extra washers, and we have the regulator. This regulator is pretty solid compared to anything that I've used before. It's heavy, nicely built, looks clean. I noticed on the Fzone Mini the one thing I complained about was the cord going to the solenoid didn't look very secure. It looked kind of like it could just, fall out or break off. I noticed on this solenoid, the cord going to it's pretty sturdy and I'm not worried about that with this regulator. We have our plug. You have to slide the prongs on like this. The first thing you want to do is tighten the manifold with the Allen keys. Don't tighten these too tight. Just hand tight. You just want to make sure those are secure. Then screw the regulator onto your tank. And get it hand tight with the wrench. You don't have to go like Superman strength on this, you just want to get it hand tight. It's going to press that rubber washer onto the tank. And don't put those white washers in here, just screw it on how it is. Right here I'm just adjusting the regulator so it's straight up. Screw the bubble counters on, hand tight, make sure those are tight. Take the tops off and fill them with water. I put a little too much water in one of them, so I took a syringe and just pulled a little bit out. You want to take this top nut off of the top of the bubble counter and then screw the other part onto the bubble counter. Take that top nut, put it onto your tubing, and then secure the tubing to the top of the bubble counter. Then bring that nut down and screw it on tight. When I got my first regulators, I used to, get everything as tight as I possibly humanly could, and that's really not necessary. If you get it nice hand tight, just put some strength into it, but not like as tight as you can go. Everything gets a pretty snug, secure connection. This part's important. You want to turn the working pressure knob all the way to the left, which is off, and then you want to make sure your bubble counter is closed. Right now I'm just hooking it up to one bubble counter. Then plug your solenoid in. You'd want to plug it into a timer if you're using a timer, but I'm just plugging it straight into the wall. Open your CO2 tank all the way. Then turn the working pressure knob to the right until you get to your desired working pressure. 30 psi is a good working pressure, so I'm dialing it to 30 psi. Then you want to adjust your bubble counter to the bubbles per second you want. I suggest starting at about 1 bubble per second and see what your CO2 levels are. I know for this tank and this bubble counter that I need to go a little higher than that, so I'm starting on 3 bubbles per second, and then we're good to go. So a few things I noticed about this regulator is the needle valves are awesome. Like, it's really easy to dial in the bubbles per second you want. It's actually the first needle valve I've encountered that actually seems easy to dial in. Compared to the regulators I've had, the Aquatech Mini, the needle valve was very, very finicky. You'd barely make a little movement and it would change your bubbles from like 3 to 10 on just the smallest movement. The Fzone Mini's a little better. Still a little finicky in my opinion compared to this. This is like an awesome needle valve. But overall, I really like this regulator. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to set up my 240 breeders and just have one tank of CO2 that's able to, handle both tanks with the dual bubble counters. But overall, so far, I'm really happy with this regulator. I'll make an update on how consistent the bubble rate is if that stays consistent. By the feeling of these needle valves, I think it's going to be very consistent. Anyway, I hope this helped anyone who's thinking about purchasing this regulator, and I'll make another update on how it's doing in the future. If you like this video, subscribe, like, comment. If you don't like it, dislike it. Either way, thanks for watching. Peace.